She'll be coming round the mountain when she comes. She'll be coming round the mountain when she comes. She'll be coming round the mountain. She'll be coming round the mountain. She'll be coming round the mountain when she comes. Nailing Blankets. This is episode 3 of Creators of Radical Compassion, Oral True Stories from Papaw O'Neill off of Cabin Creek. Nailing blankets. Papaw said we nailed blankets on the windows to meet at night. Light in the window might bring the coal company's armed watchmen. Curfew was in effect by order of martial law. They'd likely have been arrested, shot dead, or blacklisted. Had consequences for breaking curfew. See, coal miners were not allowed to talk. Not even 2 or more in public could gather, not even on a corner. They were surely not allowed to visit each other's houses, nor move from one coal town to another coal town to visit the men. Papa told me the way to a union meeting was always different for each man who they entrusted to be there. One man may walk from the creek bed, always in silence. Another might come up the railroad track, or another by a deer trail, crisscrossing the side of a mountain. Each knew the designated way each one traveled. They'd listen for the guard dogs used by the company thugs to hear if anyone was caught creeping. Then they had to stagger the time each one arrived. See, they came in silence, generally on a new moon when it was dark outside. Some 5 minutes apart, a couple minutes, sometimes 10 minutes later another one might come. In fact, Papaw told me it took 45 minutes for all of them, maybe an hour, for them to arrive at the house on the pre-designated night. And he also said one might come in the back door, one might come in a side window, might one come in the other window. No one ever came in the same way. Then after everyone arrived, they'd light one candle. One candle. So the light was hidden, protected by the heavy blankets that were nailed over the windows. See, armed union busters patrolled all night long trying to catch men meeting up, whispering, "Union!" He said there may not have been more than 8 or 10 men at a meeting, yet those brave miners carried the good news out to everyone that if the men stood together, unafraid, and called themselves Union Brothers, they might have a Union Brotherhood like in Pennsylvania and Ohio, where they had safety rules and they were getting paid better. See, miners in Cabin Creek, they couldn't pass out a bill or hand a little note out, "Meeting tonight, town hall," or something like that. They might have been in a coal accident down in the hole. And like I said, shot dead or blacklisted and their families just thrown out. It was an incredible risk for them to meet. And so they did so in the dead of night. Papaw said they'd play songs up and down the creek at night, and it'd echo up and down the long creek. They communicated through song. It was the key or the pitch that allowed them to communicate freely about meeting that night. If the song was played in the key of G, it meant go, good. If the pre-decided song was in the key of D, or it changed from G to D, it was damned don't. They designated by the chosen song if they'd go that particular night. Anyone who changed the key off the porch playing music, it would just be a signal, no, I can't go. I've been questioned today. I'm being watched. Something's up. The other people just regularly playing music may not have never known why that song was now being replayed in another key, as not everybody on the creek was privy to the brave men's plans. Many just followed along in the new key. So the Bible's saying, if you have ears to hear, let him hear. The gun thugs were very angry, agitated, not knowing who, where, or how these men were communicating and going to meetings. Papaw said when the meeting was over, they could not all leave at the same time. No, they blew out the candle. They waited in the dark as one went out the back door and another out a window and another a few minutes later slipping out. Might have took an hour for everybody to make it home. They had to listen to hear if anyone had gotten caught. See, they trusted each other. And they also had to be up before dawn to go back down into the coal mine. So no one truly rested well that sacred, sacred night that took 2 hours coming and going to a meeting that lasted maybe 5 or 10 minutes, where they received news from outside supporters. Commentary. Loyalty comes before trust in the dictionary for a reason. Papaw said you must test people out first. And I'll gladly tell you another story and one day about persons he called paid provocateurs, saboteurs, and propagandists. These were spies or hired assets, detectives, Baldwin Felts, whom the coal company would pretend to hire as a common worker. Yeah, they'd come in on the train poor with little or nothing. But see, this system of things we live in, it was built on bullying and subjugation and fear of scarcity for workers. Its roots go way back before the founding of America. Look, I'm taking a chance. I have a hope you will listen with ears to hear and with eyes to see, as Papaw would say. Please, if you think these oral truth stories have some value, please subscribe and share. Like the video. I just fear I'm getting older. Well, not really fear, but the children say, Mom, you're getting older. You need to write these things down. But if I pass away and I don't record these stories somehow, I feel I will let my beloved Appalachian people down. We must help others learn our troubled American labor history. It's a mystery, a mystery. No one wants you to know that 100 years ago, frightened people, nailed blankets over a window to meet by a candlelight. No, workers have never caught a break. But we also have not recalled the blood, sweat, and tears that passed the eyes of men, women, and children around the turn of the 20th century. And it's time for a system change here now, the way we look at labor. And it's awful they fire someone for asking for better wages. Shame on Starbucks. Shame on Amazon. And shame on Tesla for the way he treats his workers. See, Papaw didn't meet by candlelight to let these corporations 100 years later play out the same intimidation of blacklisting and job security and taking names of organizers and so on and so forth. Wow. The corporation Exxon in the last quarter made a 177% increase. And this is in 2022. It's at this very moment, it is profiting $2,375 a second. I know people that don't make that in a month. Give that a second. Oh, somebody just made $2,375. I just can't even fathom that, because that's such a greed. It's not in my heart to even consider that for some reason would be the correct way to live for a world that we choose to have and to build together. I just can't fathom that kind of greed, but it's here. And we as human beings must become human doings. See, folks, hate fears what love does. Hate fears what love does. And love is long-suffering. It's not going anywhere. I refuse to use fear to address you. I'm a grandmother who doesn't like the way things are playing out, and I decided I wasn't going to forget what Mama and Papa lived through to give me a better life. And see, that's our children, friends, and neighbors. Heck, I've seen grandmothers working at McDonald's. Those aren't starter jobs anymore. They certainly aren't full-time. See, that's our community members working at Amazon, Starbucks, and so on. Use your wallet. Spend wherever employees are treated respectfully. And I will too. And again, it don't hurt me to beg. I'm asking you to subscribe and share these personal stories from our family about the West Virginia Mine War. And lastly, I just want to say, these stories are called origin stories by historians. They don't trust them by ordinary people. They say the ordinary people are biased. And so an autobiography or origin story by someone uneducated, it can't be correct. So, well, what do we listen to? Big Cole's story of the good old days, catching fireflies and all that good shit? Oh, I'm sorry, Aunt Carol, I didn't mean to cuss. See, they are biased. It's his story. History. Sounds like a snake. History. It's history. But give me a break. Like I'm saying, I want to keep telling these stories. And, you know, the good thing is if you subscribe and like and share, then we can get more of these stories out to people. Because believe me, the powers that be that are just now opening, you know, places in West Virginia, you can go tourist and visit. You won't hear these stories there. They're not willing. Big Cole, they're just not willing to let you hear some of the stories I'm going to be telling because they're awful. This one makes me cry at night sometimes, just picturing Papaw huddled in the dark. You know, he's 26. I think he had 3 children at that time. He was giving up a lot to try to have a union. It just makes me sick. So those men, you know, they claimed that they had value and they were worthy. You know, dear Mother Jones came up the creek and told them that they were worthy. And that all men were created equal. And they are due the pursuit of happiness and general welfare and just other things. I mean, she read the Declaration of Independence and got arrested up there. That's how awful ugly those people were. They didn't want common people hearing anything good. But if you don't agree with me, you know, skip along. I got a few comments from someone calling themselves patriots. I thought that was funny. But anyway, just skip along on your happy life and go to church Sunday, because if you don't agree, keep going. If you do agree, well, let's get these stories moving. Let's go while there's still time for me to put them down. I have a friend that offered to edit and add pictures for free. Free, people. She's doing this for free because I don't have any money. I'm not on a podium with a media guy in front of me with a microphone. They're not going to give these kind of stories that kind of a review. So please, this is what I call episode 3. And I'm calling it Creators of Radical Compassion, because those blacks and whites and immigrants all had a great compassion for each other while they went through 20, 30 years of hardships, in and out of tents and having to share food and things. And who knows what might come in the future. We need to have a sense of community today. And I just feel like the stories may help us develop a perspective, a shift in our hearts, because we're evolving. And I don't want a revolution. They say, let's use your revolution. We want a revolution. Revolution reminds me of a revolving door. It's a redoing, redone, rethink, revolution. Well, volution, or that word volition, it's voluntary. It actually is the root of the word volunteer or voluntary. But God said, or hell, Darwin or anybody said, sorry Aunt Carol for cussing, we evolve. Everything evolves. So why can't we have an evolution? We don't need a revolution. That sounds kind of violent to me, kind of what they already put my people through. I don't want to do that. So can we have an evolution of heart, of compassion? that develops through a change in our perspective and the way we think about others. Anyway, I've talked too long. Just thanks for listening, and thanks to my new subscribers and your comments. It has been heartwarming and very, very appreciated and well received. And thanks for listening, y'all. I love you. She'll be coming round the mountain when she comes. She'll be coming round the mountain when she comes. She'll be coming round.